All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another B2 Deep episode. Tonight, I have with us, he is a minister, he is a wrestler, he is a model, an actor, and Lord knows what else this man is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Cody Dean. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's up, brother? What's up? What's up? How you
Nothing much,
doing?
man. Nothing much. You know how I do it,
Yes.
man. I'm
Yeah,
always
yeah.
busy trying to do something.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, doing stuff that I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing.
That's
So
right. That's right.
everything is good. All right, man. So it's
Yes.
our first time talking. We finna unpack it and we finna start from the very, very beginning. Now, you
Okay,
if
let's
I'm
do
correct,
this.
are you from Rockmart, Georgia?
Yes, I am from Rockmart, Georgia, born and raised. Born and raised here in the big city
Okay.
of Rockmart, Georgia.
Okay. So all right. So how was life growing up in Rockmart? Like, what was life like? Family life. Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes. My family life, it was kind of like, kind of split. I have two older brothers as well as two younger sisters.
Okay.
However, like they're on two separate sides, so to speak.
Okay.
Um, I was raised by my mother and my stepfather.
Okay.
I was raised by them too. So on my mother's side, I was, the baby of the family. I was the baby. I'm the youngest. So but on my father's side, I have the blessing of being the oldest too.
Okay.
So my family life is you know
You're the little
so
brother and the big brother.
yes, little
You're
brother,
right.
yes, baby brother,
Depending on who you're talking to.
yeah. Yep. So I mean, everything was okay. I had the blessing of burden of being both the baby as well as the big brother. So in some regard, my brothers would say I was spoiled.
Okay. All right.
if you ask them, they
Right.
will tell you he was spoiled. However, if you ask my sisters, they're like, well, he was big brother, so he was the protector. So he
Right.
had to protect us in
So
in different areas.
so how was that time split? So by you, like you say, you had a split family.
Hmm.
Were y'all a tight knit, or were some of y'all tight, some of y'all not? Like, how did that dynamic work? Did y'all spend a lot of time together, or was it later on in life, or what happened with that?
Um, for for us, it was we what we done. I was close to all of them,
Okay.
all of them. In this very house that we're in, that I'm in right now, um, it was my brothers and I. We grew up in this very house right here.
Okay.
So we were close, and my sisters, they were, both of them had their own separate houses.
Hmm.
But I made it my purpose. I made it my purpose to spend as much time with them as I spent with my brothers,
Okay.
so that all of us would be, as close as possible, throughout our time growing up. So I'm here at this house, and then I would go away, pick up my sisters or whatever the case may be, or have my
Right.
have my mama drop me off at their house, whatever the case may be, and just love on them, spend time with them, let them know big bro is here.
Right.
So yeah, it was a great dynamic
Right.
between all of us
Okay.
siblings. Yep.
So growing up like that, what was a typical, just say summertime, school's out, um, was Cody Dean an athlete? Was he an entertainer? Like did you act? Were you a drummer? Were you band? Were you track? Were you anything? What was the kid like?
The kid Cody in the summer. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't an athlete
Hmm.
back then. I was not. what I done was when school was out, I was on the trampoline outside
Right.
all day, every day. Most days, I would even go so far as to go to sleep on the trampoline. Um, my friends and I, we would get together. They would come over to the house since my house since my yard was a little bit bigger, and we had a trampoline, so we would do wrestling moves on each other all day. We would do that, have fun with each other, get on bikes and ride to each other's houses, and we would do stuff like that. Growing up, it was good. I mean, my brothers, they had their group of friends, so they would go out with them. My sisters, they had their group of friends, so they would go out with them. And quite frankly, I had mine. So we would just ride bikes, all that stuff growing up, and we would just have fun with each other.
So
Mm,
basically, you were like probably that last generation or so of really like outdoorsy kids, where the whole generation kind of was outdoors, regardless of
mhm.
your athletic skills or whatever. We were
Yep.
just outside kids coming up.
Yep.
So it sounded like
Yep.
you did the same thing, playing with your cousins, wrestling, fighting,
Hmm.
like you said, riding bikes. You don't hear, a lot of kids say
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
more adults on bikes nowadays,
Yeah.
it seems like, than you see kids.
Hmm.
All right. So
Yes.
growing up,
Yes.
so when did you start finding out your path as far as the church goes? Was that something that was mandatory? I know in a lot of families, especially black families, I was made to go to church every
Yeah.
single Sunday, and all the Bible studies and everything else that come with it.
Hmm. That was seemingly my lifestyle. My um growing up, my mom made my brothers and I go to church. We had to go to church, no matter what we done throughout the week, no matter what we done on Saturday night. We had to get up bright, bright and early, going to
Right,
church on Sunday morning. We had to. It was a must. It was mandatory for this house that you had to get up and go to church. You could, fine, you could, if you want to go to a party on Saturday, fine. If you want to spend the night at Chris, Kevin's house, whatever the case may be, fine. But you are going to get up and go to church. So, my brothers, they are 4 and 8 years older than I.
okay,
So they did not per se, they didn't like going to church.
right,
They did not. They really couldn't stand church. They really
okay,
couldn't stand it. But I was one of the ones, I was the one between the three of us
yeah,
who loved church.
okay,
I found something about it that I just loved. Um I love going to church. We grew up Methodist. We went to a Methodist church here in Rockmart, Georgia. Um, Went there. Um, in a Methodist church, things don't really change as much. Things things it's the same systematic structure every Sunday, every week. So we kind of knew when the pastor was going to be preaching. So
right,
we would leave the house. Yes, we would leave the house, but we knew at 12:15.
right,
We knew at 12:15, Pastor Giles, that was my Pastor Solomon Giles. We knew at 12:15 he was going to be up, so we would just slide on in. Definitely when my brothers had the opportunity to drive, but
okay,
when we had to go, we just had to go, and I
right.
fell in love with church then.
Now,
Um, yeah.
now, was it the word of church? Now, as a kid, you understand the Bible, but
Hmm.
people really start feeling that spirit at different times.
Hmm.
To each his own. Whenever
Right.
people are there. Was it the word, the preaching? Was it the singing? Was it the organ or the drums? Like, what was it about church that you fell in love with? Was it dressing up? You know, for you to fall in love with it at such a young age,
Mhm.
what like brought you towards that?
It it was it was for me. It was all of it. It was all of it. You know, it's like when you are getting ready to go to a party, when you get ready to go to the club,
Mm-hmm.
you get excited. You get excited. You know, you're at the house, you're getting your fit right, you're getting, you know, everything together, whoop de whoop, and then you actually go to the club. You know, although you're only gonna be in there for like a couple of hours, but
Right,
yet, it was the excitement of getting dressed at the house, driving to it, waiting in line to get in, and then now you're in, now you're doing everything you got to do. So for me, it was everything. But
okay,
when I got into the building, when I got into the church, the singing drew me in. The choir, you know, drew me in. Um and when when the choir would sing, I'm like, I was just struck. I was struck and I was stuck. You know, I'm like, oh, this sounds good. This I like this. I'm 2 and 3 years old, my head rocking, keeping up the beat. So, it was that. And
right,
then my pastor got up. He got up and preached. And a little, backstory about me is I had a stuttering problem growing up.
okay,
I had a speech impediment, a bad one. But yet, and my pastor also stuttered.
okay,
So stuttered a lot.
okay.
So for him to stutter as well as me, I'm like, okay, um, he's just like me. So I understood everything he said. I understood everything. And like what I would do is soon as I got out of church, soon as we left church and came back home, I would get all my teddy bears. I would get all my teddy bears. I would get all my wrestling action figures. I would get all of these things, Barney or whatever the case may be. I'll put them all together, and I would end up preaching. I would end up, imitating him to my teddy bears and all that stuff. So, all
Now,
of that.
now, how old were you at this time?
I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
So you
7.
mean to tell me, starting at around 2 years old, you were already preaching to your toys? Like you had already put yourself an audience
Yep. Yep.
out there.
Yep. Around 2, 3, 4. Yep. I would he would wear robes from time to time.
Okay,
And of course I didn't have a robe. Definitely, being 3 years old, I did not have a robe. However, I did have a towel, right?
right.
So, I would wrap my towel around my neck. I wrap it around my neck, and that would be my robe. And I would preach. I would preach to my audience, to my makeshift audience, and then go from there. And my mom, my aunts, and every adult,
Hmm.
um, you know, looking back at it, they were like, "Wow, he would preach the exact same message. He would preach
Right,
this. I would preach the same thing
right.
verbatim. What Pastor Giles said. So yeah, it was 3, 4 years old. I caught it. I caught it
Right.
and got it.
Okay, now, okay, by you catching that at that young age,
Mhm,
as you grow into the teen years, you start
mhm.
going through puberty,
Right.
and young men start going through stuff.
Mhm,
The voice changing and the sexuality stuff. The what
mhm,
am I going to do with my life? the pimples, all the stuff that teenagers go through that they hate themselves, but they think they the stuff all at the same time.
Yeah.
How did you balance? Because I'm gonna be honest, being Christian is hard if you're doing it
Yes.
right. If you're doing it right,
Uh-huh.
being Christian ain't for no chump now.
No.
If you're doing it right,
If you're doing it right.
and I ain't gonna judge some folks out there, so I'm gonna leave that. But what I'm saying, if you're doing it right, so how did you balance that? Growing up in Rockmart, going to did you go to Rockmart High School?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, so
yes,
going to that, Rockmart High School,
mm-hmm.
being around other teenagers from different
Mm-hmm.
walks of life, how was that?
It was interesting. It definitely was. That if I could just put one word on it, it would be interesting. Because yes, I would, I'm living for the Lord. Yes, I'm living for God and doing that. But yet, just like you said, just like any other teenager, going through teenage stuff. Yeah, I love the Lord. I love the Lord. I love God, but
Right.
she cute.
Right.
She's sexy. So I had to balance that too. So I didn't judge nobody. I didn't, judge them for their walk because they're doing what they have to do. Here I am. Yeah, I love the Lord, but I also may slip some foul language in every now and again.
Right.
I may, because that's just human things. So I mean, it was it was hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I knew I didn't have a chance. I remember a preacher said one time that even if you think something like something bad or sin, he said, you the sin, you just ain't acting it out. And I said, boy,
right.
if just thinking of sin is sin, I ain't got a choice. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go on and do what I gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, no,
Yeah.
buddy. I said it ain't no chance for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like and quite naturally, I didn't think it was a chance for me either.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was a chance because I'm going to church. Yeah, I love the Lord, but yet I'm going to that party. Yes,
Right.
yes, indeed. Yes.
Now,
yeah.
So at what age did you get called to the ministry? Tell me that story. Well, first of all, how old were you?
When I felt God was calling me to preach, I was 13 years old.
13.
I was 13.
And what happened?
I did not officially accept the call. No, you got your phone and it's ringing and you're just watching it ring. You're watching it ring. You're watching it ring. I watched it ring for 13 years.
Wow.
I watched the phone ring for 13 years. I knew at the age of 13 that preaching was my calling. Preaching is what God had called me to do. What God was calling me, of course now I know, to call it, he was calling me. But back then I did not know what was happening.
Right.
I knew something like going into every church, as the guest choir, the guest whatever. I would look in the pulpit. I'm like, okay, but I ran.
Okay.
I said, nope,
Right.
absolutely not,
And it's
absolutely not.
powerful. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely not. How can I preach in the pulpit when you in the street I may cuss somebody out who knows, how no, because even then I knew the seriousness of it.
So was that
Mhm,
your battle of, like you said, not accepting the call
mhm,
or ignoring it, being blind to it, however you want to be it?
mhm,
Was the battle you love church, you love the Lord,
mhm.
but you didn't want to be one of his servants, one of his humble servants and preach the word of God.
Yeah,
So
yes.
was that the difference? Or
It
is that,
was.
or do you know what was making you say, I love you, God, but I can't do this?
Yeah, it it was the human nature of it. It was the human thing in me because like I knew then the seriousness. I knew then, like, all right, from what I've seen from pastors and preachers, they look like they were serious individuals. They look like they were, scary individuals.
Right.
So I so I didn't per se, like, I knew I knew it. I knew the seriousness. So I didn't want to do that, and and then end up, humanistically cussing someone out.
Right.
Humanistically, I may, have taken a drink at a young age, stuff,
Okay.
stuff, stuff, stuff like that. So
Okay.
the human in me would not let me do it.
So
And
when you finally decided to answer that call,
mhm.
tell me about that phone call. How did you finally pick up?
it it
Did you
it was
almost like go, how you butt down some people sometimes with
uh,
your phone ringing and you just accidentally hit the answer button?
man, you did. Were you there? Because it feel like you were.
Right.
Were you there? Were you there with me in my apartment?
Right.
Um, I, it was a series of events.
Okay.
So, my pastor, I had, moved churches 2 or 3 times after the Methodist church. So I was a member at a church in Rome, Georgia. And my pastor, Bernard Young, my
Hmm.
pastor H. Bernard Young, he preached a message entitled "Fulfill Your Ministry." We were visiting a church in Cedartown, Georgia. We were visiting a church in Cedartown, and he was the guest preacher for another pastor for his pastoral anniversary. He entitled his message, like I said, "Fulfill Your Ministry." He preached a message, and the whole point of pastoral anniversary sermons are to encourage the pastor as well as enlighten the people. So, he preached a message, but it felt like it was nobody in the room but me and him. It felt like my pastor was talking to me. So I felt I felt God calling me again. I felt God, like, all right, I'm talking to you. Yes, Pastor Young was there to encourage Pastor Brown, but it felt as if Pastor Young was talking to me. So I'm like, I know I'm not receiving this call again. I know God is not doing this again. So that was in March. Fast forward 3 months later. It's now June. I remember it was June 16th, 2016. June 16th, 2016. Um, I was in my apartment in Jacksonville, Alabama. I I was I needed some encouragement that night. I needed some encouragement. So I went to YouTube, I went to Google, blah 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 blah. Typed in one of my favorite internet pastors, that's what I call him. Typed in his name, and I just picked a random sermon. It was
Right.
completely, I'm on YouTube scrolling. So I say, no, I'm gonna pick this one. I
Okay.
this one. And
Now, do you mind saying who that pastor was, or you want to just keep that?
no, I'll say his name. His name is Pastor Marcus D. Cosby.
Okay.
He is the senior pastor of Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church in Houston, Texas.
All right.
So I was I picked a random one of his sermons, and sure enough, it was the same exact sermon that my pastor preached 3 months prior.
Right.
I didn't know what the what the meat of this message was, but it was the same exact thing. I'm
Okay.
like, God, for real? So I so that night in my apartment in Jacksonville, Alabama, June 16th, 2016, at the age of 26, I told God yes. I finally picked up the phone. I clicked, the green button. I slid to answer, for for those who have iPhones, we slide to the to the Android. Y'all just press that little green button. Whatever the case may be. and and so I picked up and I just said, God, yes, yes, I will do this. I can't run no more. I yield. I yield, God. I yield to you. Use me. You
Now,
know.
at
You,
that age, at 26, what was going on in your life? Were you in college or were you done with college? You were just working at the time?
I was in college. I was at Jacksonville State University.
Hmm.
Um, trying to wrap up my degree, my BA in mass communication.
Hmm.
So I was in college. I had a college job,
Hmm.
with the housing department there. Um, and you know, nothing, nothing, too major was happening. I was just a college student, living across the street from the campus. But
Right. A
you
college
know,
kid doing college things.
yes, I was a college kid doing college things,
Okay,
and yeah.
so you have these years from uh at that age at 26. So you pretty much are just working and preaching. Um, what led into the wrestling, or did the modeling and acting come first? Where did that part come in?
The the acting, the modeling, that took place some time before I started wrestling. Sometime before that. I got connected with a woman by the name of Rachel Murray, out of New York. I got connected with her, and she for Talent Inc. USA. Talent Inc. I they done their search for new actors, new models. They
Hmm.
did all that. I had to audition for her, and then she got me to an audition with in front of 27 other
Wow.
agencies in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
So I went down to Orlando,
Hmm.
and tried out. Now, I personally thought, hey, I want, all 27 of them, all
Right.
27 to say, yes, and they want me, I'm signing contracts with all 27
Right.
people, all 27 agencies. I'm signing, I want to, all y'all. But, God saw fit for me to just have one of the 27 that, saw me, wanted me, saw potential in me, to not only do great acting and modeling, but also be a good representative for their organization as well.
Now, how
So
old were you when this happened?
I was I had to have been 20. I want to say 28.
Okay.
I was I was 28 when that happened.
Now,
Um,
now, are there any interesting things that happen with a modeling thing or the
um,
acting, like, or anything like you're proud of? Did you ever have that 15 seconds of fame that you want to talk about?
the one like the only like proud moment that I have was that time on stage. Was that time on stage and getting my lines, because they give us all these commercials and everything that we have to perform
Hmm.
on stage, in front of these people. So I mean, I that was my proudest moment, getting getting put together with a random individual. I did not know her.
Right.
I did not know her at all, and we just got together, and they gave us our lines, they gave us the
Hmm.
scene, they gave us the time, and we just you know got out there and we killed it. we we
Wow.
we done our best, we done it. And to this day, I still reach out to her, still talk to her. and
Right.
that was and that was 4 something years ago,
Oh, wow.
that took place. And
Okay.
so like that's been my proudest moment. Now the work is the work, um, but like that's been my that because that is a catalyst to what to everything I'm doing now. So so the acting came before wrestling did.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what was going on in life as you slid into wrestling? Like, were you busy with the modeling and acting or anything, or was that kind of just on and off? You know,
That
like they
was
say, life of an actor, you either up or you're
yeah.
down. They say.
Yeah, it was at that moment, the acting was seemingly non-existent. I wasn't able to like land anything.
Hmm.
Um, and so while while working at this hospital in Rome, Georgia, working there, I had a conversation with an individual, and like he told me about this person who is a wrestling trainer, just in a normal conversation, I told him what I want to do, what I've always wanted to do, what I always thought about doing, and he got me connected to an individual who's been like who reached out to him about it. And so once the person that I was working with gave me that information, I reached out to that man immediately, and he reached back to me immediately. And so we connected, and I started training probably May about a week after my initial conversation with a trainer, the Golden Boy, Mike Golden. Um, after about a week, I started training at the age of 31. I started training at the age of 31 into professional wrestling, and it has been the best. It has been the best thing ever for me.
Okay,
It
so
has.
let's talk about that journey.
Okay.
Okay, so you get in contact with a person,
Hmm.
and what was the next step? Did you go try a day out? Did you research? Like, what was your next step? What happened?
I I didn't research at all, about this individual, about this man that I'm training with.
Mm.
I did not, because going into stuff like that, I want to get to know you for you.
Right,
I like to get to know you for you. I don't want all this, I personally don't want like a lot of back information, because I
right,
don't want to think I actually know that person.
yeah,
So I want to get to know you and get the feel of you. So he told me when he Mike Golden told me when he trains people, when and where,
okay,
when, where, and what time. So so I went there. I went to the location, and I he told me to take a bump. In wrestling terms, for those who don't know what a bump is, a bump is when you literally throw yourself on the wrestling canvas, on the wrestling mat, in the
yeah,
wrestling ring, in the middle of it.
yeah. Make sure you explain
Yeah.
that good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
what kind of bump we talking about? Yes,
yes. Yes, because there's another definition for a bump that
yes,
you know, I don't do that. I
yeah.
don't.
Whole nother conversation. Yeah,
Whole another thing, whole another thing. So so he made me take that bump. He made me, throw myself on the canvas,
hmm
throw myself backwards onto it, and it hurt. It hurt. It hurt. I was 31. I was a lot smaller than I am now. So I felt everything, every single thing I felt.
hmm
But that's it. It's been something I've always wanted to do ever since I started watching it when I was 8 years old.
Right,
So I started watching it at 8, and I'm like, oh, who are these people? What is
right.
this? This stuff looks cartoony, but I like it. What is this? So But I fell in love with it at 8, and I didn't start training until 31. And then like that that journey, September 11th, 2021, that's when my journey into professional wrestling began.
Okay.
I started training September 11th, 2021, and I trained vigorously for a year.
Now, what kind of stuff were you doing? Tell me about that training process. The
Training
running,
process.
the lifting. Was it diet involved?
Sure. Oh God, training was crazy. It was because I had to. I did have to diet. I did have to do that. I made sure I dieted because this is, you know, back in high school and part of middle school. I wrestled then, as well as in high school I played soccer. So I knew to some degree to, I need to work on my health, work on my cardio. If I'm gonna do this, I need to work on my cardio. So um I just done it that way. I made sure my cardio was good. um we done wrestling holds, wrestling moves on each other. They taught us how to do it. They taught us how to, grab their head. They taught us how to grab necks. They taught us all of that stuff vigorously. And when I mean vigorously, soon as training was at 10 o'clock in the morning. So soon as 10 o'clock hit, it was go time. It was, it was stretching. It was doing
Yeah.
drills.
Take me
It
through a take me through one of those workouts. How do you start off? Do you
um
stretch or do you just
we
go right into it?
we stretch. We do Hindu squats. Um, Roughly 50 of those, 50 to 100 of those. We
You have to
do
explain to the people what a Hindu squat is.
a Hindu squat is when you grab it is when you take your hands and you swing them as you dip. You swing them. You don't just drop down and get up. That's a regular squat. But a Hindu squat is when you have to basically force yourself down and you pull yourself up. So it is so we would do squats. We would have to run. We'd have to run around the ring probably about 25 times. We would have to,
Yeah.
we would have to do that before we got in the ring,
All right.
before we even touch the ring.
So that's just
We
the warm up.
that's just a warm up to get your flood blowing and going. So so then once we get in the ring, we're doing running drills from rope to rope, corner to
Hmm.
corner. It's 5, 6 people in this ring, and we're not touching each other at all. We're not touching each
Right.
other yet. We're doing running drills first, and then do drills with a partner in the ring. So
Okay.
so so it was, and then after all of that, the drills and all that took maybe at best 20-25 minutes before we even started officially training for that day. And then we got
So
into
you're
working
probably
on the.
about an hour in before training really even officially get going.
Yep, yep, vigorous, vigorous. And so, you have to get your cardio right. You have to
Right.
get things together. You have to. So we and so then we started learning moves and doing that, because Mike Golden, he has been in the wrestling business for well over like 40 years at this point.
Okay.
So I mean, he knows his stuff. He
Okay.
knows, he knows, he knows, he
All right.
knows.
So
So
tell
we
me about the big day
yeah.
then. So you do all this training
Mhm.
leads up to your very first match. Tell me about that match and what name you came out with.
Um, so all of that going from September 2021 to all the way up until October 2022. October 2022 is when I officially, when they told me that I was going to be making my debut. Now in in wrestling, in wrestling, people have characters, people have gimmicks, people have these things that make them larger than life.
Right.
Um, so take for instance, you have The Rock. His real name is Dwayne Johnson.
Mhm.
However, we all know him and love him as The Rock.
Right.
So I had to have a rock moment. I had to, I had to give myself that and give myself like another persona other than Cody Dean. So because I wanted to have a good degree of separation between my real, me and the wrestling character. I decided to go completely different than my
Okay.
normal. So I start thinking, start researching and all that, and I came up with the name Azrael. Azrael, archangel, and dark character, dark mystic character. So so my overall, like, literally my makeup was dark.
Right.
I had eyeliner and my fingernails painted black. I was just this dark, robust character.
Okay.
um I wrestled under the name Azrael for quite some time.
All right.
I was the the archangel Azrael. I was all of that. So um but just like in professional wrestling today, um just how they start is not
Mhm.
necessarily how they finish.
Right.
Their starting character's name is not their last name.
Yeah, a lot of the
No,
great wrestlers, what we know them as, is not
yeah,
the name they started
no,
with. Right.
no, no,
So what are you
look,
wrestling under now?
now now they have, I have completely shifted, and now I'm this smart educated man who
Hmm.
is smarter, who is better, who is wiser than everyone there. So I use my entire name right there. I use my entire name. I use that. um I am now the dean of wrestling, known
Okay.
as Cody McHale. All right. So
All right.
we use my entire real name as
Right.
my persona. I'm the dean. Since
Okay.
since Mike Golden is the trainer, he has a training school.
Right.
And since I'm the dean, I'm
Hmm.
the dean of the school. So I'm smarter than everyone. I'm smarter, I'm better, I'm wiser than not only my opponent, but everyone in the room, everyone in the arena at that moment. I'm the dean of wrestling. I'm Cody McHale.
Yeah.
I have a PhD in edutainment, uh, edu, education and entertainment together.
Right.
So I have a PhD in edutainment, so I'm smarter, and I make smart decisions in
Now,
the
when you
in
talk
the
like that, is that your character? Is that the?
Yes,
It,
yes, indeed, yes. It is my character. I can go in and out of talking regular like Cody Dean would, but I also switch over to talking like Cody McKell, the dean of wrestling, the dean of professional wrestling here in the
so,
great state of Georgia and Alabama.
so you
Also,
completely flipped it.
I completely flip
Okay.
at any
So,
at any given moment. Yes.
so now that you got your feet wet, tell me this. First of all, we're gonna start. Who was your favorite wrestler as a kid and coming up?
The man I made a reference to, it was The Rock.
Rock.
It was The Rock growing up. The Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was a big World Wrestling Federation fan. I was a big fan of that because that was the first thing I saw when I flipped on to the TV that night.
Hmm.
I was watching Monday Night Raw. I was watching Monday Night Raw, and the first people I see on the camera is they were called the Mean Street Posse.
Okay.
Um, They were called the Mean Street Posse. So I so yeah, I those were, you know, the Rock and Stone Cold, the you know, and and there was this lady named China as well. There's a lady named
Okay.
China. She was, you know, she was bad. She was
Yeah.
a bad woman. So I'm like, wow, okay,
So
okay, you go, girl.
so
Yes,
tell the
yes.
people how that felt getting into the ring and finally doing something that you've admired since childhood, and finally as an adult, you finally get your feet wet and do it. What was that feeling like the first time you had a match in front of a live audience?
It was a euphoric experience. It was very euphoric. It
Okay.
was it was exhilarating to finally, after 23 years, finally, what I did on the trampoline, what me and all my friends did on the trampoline, I'm actually getting to do now. So
Okay.
it was an exhilarating experience to to like actually be in the back and not just watching the wrestlers. Now
Hmm.
I am one of them.
One of them.
So now I'm putting on my gear instead of looking at others putting on theirs. So
Right.
I'm putting on mine. I'm putting on my makeup. I'm putting on my this and my that.
Right.
Putting my jacket on.
Right.
All of this stuff. So to have that experience, I got put in something called a rumble, in which that's, you know, 15 to about 30 men in the ring all at one time. The
Hmm.
goal is to throw someone out over the top rope, and that person, both of their feet have to hit the floor for them to be eliminated from the match, and it continues until one person remains and that person is the winner.
Oh,
um
trust me, I remember that match.
oh
Yeah,
oh
I was at
yes.
your very first match, and I remember seeing you get your wings, and I said, "There you go, that's real. Somebody must have rung a doorbell because you
Yes.
went flying."
Appreciate you for coming, man. Like man, it was an it was an experience
Right.
to like have that moment, have that time to actually, speaking of doorbells,
See,
um speaking of doorbells, so
that's all. That's creepy.
to have that time, yeah, to have that time and to just, you
Mhm.
know, get that experience, you know, it was good. It was an overall good time to actually, you know, be in there and do what, you know,
Hey,
what
so
I've always wanted to do.
we have a question on YouTube.
Mhm.
Gina J says, "Do you think that the acting or the wrestling interfered with your ministry?"
No, 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 no. It never did. It never has. Um, you know, I appreciate that question. Um, it never has, because when you go to a mature church,
Hmm.
when you go to a spiritually mature church, they know that, you know, it's it's you, but it's not really you.
Right.
So so it never has interfered whatsoever.
They didn't even
Never.
question your original name as Azriel.
They
Was that ever questioned? Like, okay, I get you have a character, but why the dark side?
Yeah. Um they never questioned the character name. They never questioned that, but it was just they might have questioned his look. They were like, why? Oh, like, this ain't this who
Right.
Cody? No, this ain't Cody. I'm not Cody. I'm Azrael at this moment.
Right.
So it never so they never they're like, okay, well, you know, that's what you've always wanted to do. You know, that's you. So, you know, you have to do what you have to do
Right.
at that moment. So no one ever questioned
Hmm.
the motive. No one ever questioned that. They sometimes questioned his look because
Right.
once again, my eyes are fully black.
Yeah.
Black eyeliner, black nail polish, black this, black that. My hair was not in a ponytail.
Yeah.
It
You
was down in
definitely
my it was
you
down in
ain't
my face.
you ain't
So yeah,
welcome to Holy Night or whatever. What is they call on Halloween at the church? Is it Holy Night?
Hallelujah night.
Yeah.
Hallelujah
You
night.
you
That's what
can't
they have
come
at the
dressed
church.
like as your
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, no, 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 no,
You
no,
ain't
no, no,
welcome.
no. That person, that guy, Azrael, was definitely not welcome into the church. Cody Dean is, yes.
Right.
But no, I
Yes.
yes, I had to do that. Nobody ever questioned it. Church people, they liked it, because
Hmm.
it was something different
Right.
that they never actually seen.
Right.
Somebody that's easy able to shift between, okay, you you are literally beating people up on Saturday, but here you are blessing people on Sunday.
Right.
Like, so they just they like it. They like
Right.
it. So they didn't quite understand it.
Hmm.
I had to explain some of them. I had to explain the actual the sport of it. I had
Right.
to explain that to them.
Right.
But yeah, they like it.
All right. So I'm finna give you the big screen. I want you to tell the people where you at now, what you got coming up next, and how to reach
Okay.
you, how to get in touch with you, like your social media platforms or where you're wrestling next. The whole spiel.
Okay.
Let them have it.
All right. Thank you. For the time. Thank you all for watching. So my name is Cody Dean. You can reach me at I'm Cody Dean on all social platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of that. I'm Cody Dean. Wrestling, I am the Dean of Wrestling, Cody McHale. I wrestle in Somerville, Georgia, almost every Friday night. You can catch me at ISWA, that is Independent Southern Wrestling Alliance, 95 Begonia Drive, Somerville, Georgia. I also wrestle at NAWA Classic, which is formerly known as KLT. Um, we do our shows. We have our shows every other Saturday, the second and fourth Saturday of every month. The second and fourth Saturday of every single month. Um, it is 2701 Calhoun Road, Rome, Georgia. So catch me there. Catch me on social platforms. Cody Dean. Yes. The minister, the actor, the preacher, the wrestler, the host, this, that, and everything in between. Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, man,
Yes.
I appreciate you for coming here on the B2D platform, man. I wish you well in the rest of your career, man.
Yes.
We're gonna
Thank
have
you.
to do this again soon,
Yes.
man. Maybe one day we'll
Yes.
be watching you on that big screen. That
Oh,
is
thank
the
you.
hope.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So that is the
That is
hope,
the hope.
man.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for
Well,
having me.
until next time, brother. Hey, you be too deep, man.
I will.
All
Thank you.
right.
You can say.
All right. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. Another episode. We are now done, man. Make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to the page at B2Deep. Subscribe to the page, man. Let me know what kind of topics y'all want to talk about. Who you want me to interview, who you want me to try to get on this platform, man. I'm trying to build this page up. Not a lot of subscribers now because I'm building from the ground up. So, again, thank you guys for joining, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.